Thomas Friedman and Weather Geek. Looking into the future, where do you see the time coming when we'll have these models available to run on our own in some format? I mean, that we, either on our smart device or on our home computer, that we say, oh, I want to have a barbecue this afternoon, and this side of my yard versus up the street, that type of stuff.
Well, I don't think that'll happen. I mean, you can run these these models on your PC right now. That's one really fun thing. You can download the initial grids and run I have students who are doing that right now. They're running the model. Okay, so you could do that right now. But the question, what's the most effective approach? Should you be running the models, or should you run in a central place on the cloud and you just download? That probably makes the most sense. That you just download it to your machine. Yes.
My name's Steve Gilmer. I'm just an interested observer here. One thing that when you look at weather, it's not only what the weather's going to be, but just sort of the results of it. And one thing we get in Western Oregon and Washington is that a little bit of temperature difference can make a whole big difference, like whether it's going to be rain or snow or ice. And then, of course, in areas like in Oklahoma or something, I mean, the issues about tornadoes, these are big issues. Is there a pattern in forecasting of really concentrating on areas that, where it makes a big difference, as opposed to North Dakota, where, in January it's going to be cold and snow?
Right. Well, it's true that forecasting different things. Some places it's hard to forecast some things than others. Like, for instance, forecasting snow here is very hard. This is true of both Oregon and Washington, because we are often on the margin between rain and snow here, right? It's a hard thing to do. On the other hand, so that's our difficult forecast. Okay, and my friends from the Weather Service know that, okay, better than I do. But on the other hand, we don't have a big problem they have in the Midwest, convection. Thunderstorms are very hard to forecast. And they can be very dependent upon initial state and stuff like that. That's their problem. But we hardly have that problem at all here, right? So each place has its issues. And there's concentrations of efforts. There's a storm prediction center that the Weather Service has that specializes in the convective stuff. I mean, we don't have a snow prediction center here, but we do have a river forecast center, and we have people that are interested in precipitation, which is a big issue here. So each area has their issues. Okay. Another question?
I ran away from Mark. He's got a good question.
Okay, then someone else had a question over here.
Yeah, Mark Nelson from Box 12. You mentioned the coastal radar. You had some thoughts on that?
Okay, now, what I say here doesn't go out of this room. This is like Las Vegas, right? Listen, you guys should have a radar on the coast. I mean, the Northwest, we've done a detailed analysis of where radar should be. Well, first, I think, you need a radar on the coast. And personally, I would take the one that you have down by Medford, right? Which is high up on a mountain, which is, I don't think, extremely valuable. I'd move that to the coast. As a warm-up, okay? I would move that radar. But let's face it, we do have gaps. And now we have the coast covered, at least in Washington, in Northern Oregon. A big gap is on the eastern slopes of the Cascades.
Yeah.
Central Oregon, Central Washington. The radars we have, let's say, for instance, the Pendleton radar, it's too far back.
Yeah.
We need one on the slopes there. And so, but potentially we could, so I think they need radars there. Potentially they can use a smaller radar. They don't necessarily need as big a radar. Like the Langley Hill radar, we need a state-of-the-art that can see way out, right? Maybe there are cheaper radars. In fact, there's a project called the CASA project to have less expensive radars. And maybe we could have a series of these radars going down the slopes of the mountains. And it would be valuable to the Seattle office and to the Portland office, the Pendleton office, and others. So I think we need that. Now, I have sent some emails to your U.S. Senator down here in Oregon. Well, they weren't exactly, they weren't exactly responsive to me. So, if you're interested in this, you've got to talk. The only way to make this happen is to go congressional, I suspect. You can, my friends at the Weather Service, they're fine, but it's not going to happen. There's money issues in the Weather Service. It needs to be new money to do this. You've got to go congressional to get your senator to get the money. Now, I was hoping And now with the great success of the Langley Hill radar, and I think it has been a great success, that this would be an impetus to do this. So it's in your hands. I'll help. But we need local people in Oregon to start pushing this.
All right, we'll take one last one right here.
Hi, Garen Slocum, just local weather enthusiast. I was curious about the models and the accuracy rating. Do you guys do any kind of a rating? Because I know 10 miles, 20 miles in a forecast track of a storm makes a huge difference, whether it be a snow, rain, or a nice day.
Well, we have, if you go to our website, you go to my department, we have actually a verification page. We do a lot of verification. So you can see the relative skill of the various models and the various resolutions. That's all available for you to look at. I don't have anything there about position errors, but I do have things like mean absolute error, biases, and stuff like that from various locations. And you can see maps of the errors over periods of time. So that data is available to you if you're interested in that.
I might add that each model does better in various situations, and Cliff knows this, and so to say one is accurate on a particular storm more so than another is a difficult thing to say.
Right, and in fact, you know, what I had to talk about is the change in environment for the weather forecasters. Well, one of the most important skills of a trained, experienced weather forecaster is to be able to look at these various models to know, what's the optimal combination of them for various weather features. And some weather events, some models are better than others, as Steve talked about. So this, a human being can't integrate the equations like a model can, we can't do that, But what we can do is we can use our judgment to decide which models look more physical, which more realistic, and which do I trust in certain circumstances. That's an important skill of weather forecasters.
All right,
Okay.
that ends the formal Q&A session. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Cliff Mass. Dr. Mass, stay at the podium for a minute if you could. Here's the part Dr. Mass doesn't know, but our executive council met last Wednesday and we decided to extend the offer to Dr. Mass to draw for all of today's raffle prizes.
Okay.
So